Cyber liability is the coverage in this module where the defer decision is genuinely the right answer for most solo coaches in the founding year, and the unit gives you the criteria for knowing exactly when the deferral stops being correct. The line turns on data, not on revenue or experience. A coach with a small client roster and a modest list sits in a low-risk profile. A coach with stored payment data and tens of thousands of subscribers sits in a materially different one. Same profession, different scale, different decision, and I want to make the criteria specific enough that you do not have to guess where you fall. Real coverage for a real risk, and also the coverage most solo coaches can genuinely defer until the digital footprint grows large enough to justify the premium. What I want to do in this video is give you the line, the specific footprint conditions that flip the decision from defer to standard add. The premium is not free, and the exposure for a small footprint practice is not catastrophic. So paying for the policy in year one when the conditions do not apply is real money against a low probability incident. The discipline is naming the conditions clearly enough that the defer or the add is each an informed choice. 4 conditions move cyber from defer to standard add, and any one of them is enough to start pricing the policy. First, selling online courses to a large list and storing student data including payment information. Second, an email marketing list with personally identifiable data beyond plain email addresses, meaning behavioral data, segmentation tags, purchase history. Third, detailed client notes in cloud-based software where the content is personally sensitive, health history, financial situation, family composition. Fourth, business operations that would be materially interrupted by a breach response, where the forensic investigation and notification work would stop client delivery for weeks. What the coverage actually pays for is the aftermath of a breach, and 4 categories of cost are inside the typical policy. Breach response costs, the forensic investigation, the legal review of notification obligations, the actual notification letters to affected individuals, regulatory fines and civil penalties under GDPR and state breach notification laws, which are real numbers and growing every year, business interruption during recovery, meaning the lost revenue while you cannot operate, third-party liability from data you held on other people that got exposed. The coverage is comprehensive on the response side. It does not touch the cause. Cyber insurance does not prevent the underlying breach from happening in the first place. The policy pays for the aftermath. The security posture inside your practice decides whether the aftermath ever arrives. 2-factor authentication on every account that touches client data. Data minimization, meaning you do not hold information you do not need. Password hygiene that actually rotates and that does not reuse the same password across platforms. Those posture practices determine the probability of a breach happening at all. The insurance is the second layer that responds when posture failed. Both layers are required. Neither one substitutes for the other, and carrying the insurance is not a reason to relax the posture. Cost range for standalone small business cyber sites in the $500 to $1,500 annual range, with the spread driven by revenue, data volume, and industry classification. The threshold question is whether the premium pencils against your actual exposure. For a coach with a small list and minimal stored data, the answer is usually no. The annual cost is real money against a low probability and low cost incident. For a coach with tens of thousands of subscribers, course platforms holding payment data, and an active community, the answer flips. The cost of a breach response easily runs 10 to 50 times the annual premium, and the coverage is worth pricing in the same call as your E&O. Two profiles to make the contrast concrete, and the contrast is sharper than people expect when they first see it. Profile 1, 30 active coaching clients, notes inside a protected practice management app like Simple Practice or Healthy, a 500-person email list with no payment data attached. Low cyber risk profile, defer item with a documented trigger. Profile 2, 40,000 newsletter subscribers, a 2,000 student course with stored payment data, an active membership community holding personal information. Materially different profile, materially different breach exposure, materially different decision. The coach is the same person. The risk shape is not. The cyber risk self-assessment turns the 4 conditions into a numeric score, and the score routes the decision. Score low, and the answer is defer. Defer with intent, meaning you document the trigger that would change the decision so the deferral has an end condition. Score medium or high, and you add cyber to the broker conversation in the same call where you are reviewing E&O. Because both policies are professional liability adjacent and the same broker usually places them. The self-assessment takes about 15 minutes. Run it once, and the decision is informed instead of default. And the timing is on your calendar, not the carrier's renewal cycle.